we know that we shouldn't be having McDonald's and Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. We shouldn't be having fast food on a regular basis. We shouldn't be.
Wait, what?
Mind blown.
Yeah, you're kidding. Uh, Hey everyone, and welcome to our Aligning Life and Wealth series, where we're making money mean more by aligning it with aspects of life that matter most. We're interviewing what I like to call our life experts, from health to home security. Their services have a great impact on the lives of many. I'm Michael Conway, President and CEO of Conway Wealth, and today I'm excited to introduce to you Andre Cruz, Men's Health Magazine Fittest Trainer and current senior coach at Ladder. Andre, welcome. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Michael. It is an absolute pleasure to be here. I'm very much looking forward to speaking with you today.
Yeah, awesome. I'm actually here. I just finished one of your workouts, so I'm here in my workout attire. And by the way, I'm not very pleased with you at what yesterday was leg day, and just I'm not happy. But
there are a lot of people who don't like me on Tuesdays and Fridays. So we train like Tuesdays and Fridays in my program, and I always say hate me for 45 minutes, but love the results. So if you have a little bit of a skiff with me for 45 minutes, that's okay. Literally, there are times when I'm in the middle of doing a workout, I'm like, man, this is like awful. Who wrote this? And I'm like, oh yeah, me.
Yeah. So, I forget what I was doing this morning, but some bent over rows.
Yeah.
And my lower back, and this old creaky body. But anyway, let's jump in. We're here to talk about Ladder as a solution in our life and wealth network, and working out in health in general. Right? It is the biggest asset that we have as humans, our health. And so I spent a lot of time talking about it. It's very important to me, and any information I can get to my clients is very important to me. So tell us a little bit about Ladder and specifically what you do.
Absolutely. So Ladder is the future of fitness. Imagine being able to work out with your favorite personal trainer whenever, wherever you're meant to be together. You know that old Shakira song, but like with all seriousness, as long as you have an internet connection, you can be at your normal gym, you can be in your garage like I am right now, you can be at a hotel gym, you can be on a remote island somewhere, but as long as you have an internet connection to be able to log into the app and train with your favorite trainer. And these are not pre-recorded workouts or some long catalog of old dated workouts. We literally refresh brand new workouts every single week, and we have the entire year planned out with six-week training cycles with 2 to 3 week deloads in between. But the whole idea is you're not just coming into the gym like, all right, well, what am I supposed to do today? Everything is mapped out for you. You've been in the program for a little bit, so you've experienced some of that, but we have all of the different modalities. So someone like myself, we're doing more functional bodybuilding. So the whole idea is building functional strength so that we can be effective in our lives as moms, dads, grandparents, but also we'll get that aesthetic benefit of building lean muscle and burning body fat. We have traditional bodybuilding programs. We have yoga. We have Pilates. We have prenatal. We have running programs. So the whole idea is wherever you are in your lifestyle cycle, we're going to make sure that you are taken care of with quality coaching. And when you're physically within the app itself, as you've seen, you press play. You can connect it to either your Apple Music or your Spotify, and then you just go. You don't have to really think about anything. You'll physically see a movement of your coach doing whatever the movement is. And in your ear, you're getting coaching on, hey guys, I want you to do this. So you're getting coaching and cueing as if I was right there with you having a personal training session. But once again, you don't have to worry about scheduling it. You can do it literally anytime, any place, as long as you have, as I like to say, 2 dumbbells and a positive attitude. You're good to go.
There you go. Yeah. And the visual aspect of being able to look at you doing it, or whomever the coach is, to say, oh, I'm not doing that properly. I need to move my arm or whatever.
Sure.
And it is interesting, right? So one of the things you talked to me about is working on legs. So I started joking about the leg day, but it's overlooked, right?
Right.
And it's something that's so important, especially as I get older and our clients are older. Some of our clients are older, and having that leg strength to get up, get down, pick stuff up off the floor, balance.
Yes.
Later in life is absolutely huge.
Yeah. this thing that I've been talking about this for years. So, I've been a trainer since 2012. And I always would jokingly say with my clients and even members at my gym when I owned my CrossFit gym for 7 years, you know, one of the first things that I'll have somebody who's new to come in to work out with me in person is, hey, let me see you do an air squat, because that is the most important movement in life. I always say, as soon as you lose the ability to sit down and stand up on your own, you're going to end up in assisted living. Obviously, we're all in different stages of our lifestyle, but that is such an important thing. And there are movements like deadlifts that might be a little bit scary to some people, but you literally have to deadlift every single day. Anytime that you bend down to put on your shoe or pick up your backpack or your suitcase or your grandkid or your child, you're physically deadlift. So why not learn how to do it in the most safe and efficient way in the confines of a gym without having to have that stress happen? And I always tell people, if you don't deadlift and learn how to do it safely in the gym, you're going to be doomed to be that old man or that old woman who literally can't bend down and play with their grandkids in the future. So we're building longevity, we're building strength, going to keep us, independent and strong for our entire lives.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I had to bend down, and Leslie said, "Go pick up the box of dog food that just got delivered. It's 40 pounds."
Yeah.
It's something. Why did you decide to make a career out of fitness? What led you down this path? How did you get here?
Yeah, so I'll give my life story, and it won't be quite an elevator speech because it's taken a lot of different curves and bends and all that. So I got my degree in finance from the University of Pittsburgh, graduated with my BSBA, magna cum laude 4.0 in finance, all that good stuff. I started working in corporate banking. I enjoyed the paychecks. I did not enjoy the daily life of being a banker. And there came a certain point after I was there for about 2.5 years where I'm looking around and I'm looking at all my colleagues, and I'm one of the younger guys in my group. And all of my colleagues can seemingly describe their entire life's work in one sentence. My name is so-and-so. I went to this university. I've been at the bank for 20 years. I have 2.5 kids and a lot of money. And they all had, I call them pear-shaped bankers, right? They had like the big belly, ugly mustaches. And I said to myself, if I stay here for much longer, there's going to come a point where I'm golden handcuffed to this. And I know that it's not something that I want to be doing with the rest of my life. So I quit, much to my mother's dismay. I was making more money than anyone in our family had ever made. But I was like, this is not for me. So I took a year or two and I bartended. Because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life at the time. I knew that I enjoyed drinking. So I figured, hey, maybe I want to open up my own bar restaurant. So I did that for a year and I actually got in pretty good shape. I lost about 25 pounds my first year as a bartender because I was working at the bar and, moving kegs and on my feet all night instead of going to the bar and drinking my sorrows away because I didn't like my job. So that's when I started kind of getting a little more disciplined with my fitness. And then I came to a point where I was looking at opening up my own bar restaurant, but said, you know what, this is not the lifestyle that I want to have, staying up until 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. My wife works in education. We probably never see each other. So I knew that was not a good fit. My mother-in-law actually suggested that I look into personal training. Randomly, I was working on a couple of movies for a year in like the 2012 timeframe. I was working on a Tom Cruise movie as a background guy, a Will Smith movie. And in between, Josh said, why don't you look into personal training because you've gotten into good shape? I didn't think that I would like it, but I got certified back in August 2012. I started working at an LA Fitness in Secaucus, New Jersey, making $9 per half hour session. And if I didn't train people, I made $0. But I loved every single minute at LA Fitness making trash money compared to all the time that I was spending at the bank. So that
you talk about fulfillment in life, right? It's not about money. Money's not bad, but
no. Yeah, money's important, but if you figure out what you like, I think that's the most important thing. Figure out what you like, because if you spend your entire career in life, hating what you're doing, you're not really ever going to be truly successful. So I was at LA Fitness for a year. I moved on to Equinox in Manhattan, got paid a little bit better. I moved on to CrossFit Union Square in 2015, 2016, got pretty competitive in the CrossFit space. I got pretty fit myself. I took an athlete to the CrossFit Games in 2017, and then I opened up my gym in 2017 as well. That's also the same year that I won Health Magazine's Fittest Trainer. But I really just fell in love with helping people become the best, strongest, and fittest versions of themselves through health and through fitness. And it was honestly the very first personal training session that I did at LA Fitness. As an interview, they had me train one of their kind of long-standing clients. And this was a woman who had been training with her trainer for maybe 1 or 2 years. And, she was consistent, but, was kind of in that, like, I'm kind of bored coming to the gym. We kind of do the same things over and over again. She had a knee injury. And so they pretty much just had her doing the circuit of machines. And I'm like, well, why don't we try getting you squatting and moving your own body weight? I grabbed one of those big round Swiss balls, had her line her back up against it on the wall, and she used that as assistance to sit down and stand up into a squat. And at the end of our 30-minute session, she started crying, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" It's like, I'm so happy. This is the first time that I've been able to physically move my body and not be able to just be stuck on a machine for my entire training session. And so, like, that for me was like, okay, I can make a positive impact on people. I can interact with people. That's one thing that I liked about one of the social aspects I liked about banking was, the entertainment side of it. I like
Sure.
bartending, social aspects of things. So I like interacting with human beings, but I really like being able to make a positive impact on people's lives. And that's what has made it my life's work over the last 12 and a half years and into the future.
There you go. Yeah, good stuff. It is amazing the impact you can have. And again, I'll keep going back to health. So it's such a huge part of everything and should be a big part of our everyday lives.
Yeah.
So we're talking about training. Let's shift gears, and I have in my notes, let's talk about from a diet perspective, what do you eat on a daily basis? And how do you recommend people alter their diets to increase lean muscle mass? A couple of weeks ago, you and I were talking about protein, but let's talk about protein. Let's talk about vitamins and what you do.
So let's talk big picture. So when you come into a training program, I think everyone tries to do everything at the same time. And that's where a lot of folks will kind of fall short because you're saying, all right, I haven't worked out consistently. I haven't eaten well consistently in the last X number of years. I'm going to introduce these really hard workouts into my training. And I'm also going to restrict myself from eating all the food that I like. That is a recipe for disaster. So when people are first starting in their fitness journey, I always like to say, start by making working out a habit. So before you say, hey, I'm going to go and cut out this and cut out that, let's just make sure that you're consistently working out 3 to 5 times a week for at least a month. Okay. And then in the meantime, pardon my French here, but I say, don't eat like an a-hole, right? Like we know that we shouldn't be having McDonald's and Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. We shouldn't be having fast food on a regular basis. We shouldn't be.
Wait, what? Yeah. You
Oh man, yeah. So start to just make better decisions. You shouldn't be having Sour Patch Kids and candy. You shouldn't be putting sugar in your coffee. So I say start with just making better food decisions. Once we started making better food decisions and we have working out as a habit, that's when we can really start to tinker with our food. So taking it back another 10,000 feet, when I first started as a trainer, I tried all the different styles of diets. I tried the keto diet. I tried paleo. I tried bodybuilder's diet. I didn't like any of them. Mainly all of those fad diets, they are incredibly restrictive. And I have found that if you're saying that I can never eat this or I can never eat that or I can never do this or do that, there's going to come a certain point where naturally as human beings, you're going to go on vacation. You're going to go to that Super Bowl party. You're going to go and going to go to the bar and meet up with friends. If you are living a completely restricted life that you're not able to do anything, as soon as you reintroduce that one food group, your body is going to kind of blow back up, right? People that have done the no carb diet, if you go all of a sudden back to eating a single piece of bread, you're going to gain all of that back. So it's not really sustainable. So I came up with a way of eating that was sustainable for me. I'm originally from Virginia. I was born in DC, but my mom is a great Southern chef. So I'm used to eating all of the good, tasty foods. And my mom taught me how to cook when I was younger. So I figured, how can I create the same style of food that my mom made and infuse flavor into my diet without restricting everything, but maybe taking out some of the things that my mom would put in there to make it extra good, right? So cutting back some of the butter, cutting back some of the sugar, when having chicken, not necessarily frying it, but still seasoning it and flavoring it, but grilling it instead of putting it into a deep fryer. So protein is really the major macronutrient that we should all be focusing on consuming. So our bodies, our muscles are made of protein. Whenever I tell people, hey, like you should try to get 35 to 40% of your daily caloric intake from protein, a lot of people are like, well, how can I do that? That's so much meat. How can I eat all that? But then they're the same person that might go to Starbucks and order a single Frappa Mocha Chocolata that has 100 grams of sugar in it, and they've got more than like double the amount of sugar they should have on any given day in one giant diabetes causing beverage. So we have to start to change our minds and realize that we should be eating things that are more natural. I say if it comes from an animal or a plant or like a seed, you're probably going to be okay. And big picture, if you're thinking about the grocery store, think about sticking to the perimeter of the grocery store, right? Things that are frozen, things that are perishable. If something comes in a box inside of a plastic bag that has an expiration date that is outside of this year, it's probably not something that you should be. It's probably not something that you should be eating. It's probably not something that's going to help you to build lean muscle and burn.
Except on Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh yeah, eat up, man. Eat up. Listen, and balance is everything. I'm not saying that you have to be ironclad all the time. Like just on today is Wednesday. On this weekend, we had pizza on one day, we had Chinese food on another day, and had a couple of beers while watching football. So it's all about balance. If you can make those good decisions most of the time throughout your week, it's definitely okay. If on the weekend you want to have a couple of cocktails or a couple of cheat meals, and even physically and psychologically, they have shown studies that if you eat pretty well most of the time, whenever you reintroduce that bad food, your body's like, whoa, what is this? And it kind of kicks into overdrive, and your metabolism tries to do everything it can to kick all of that stuff out of your body. So it is both a physical and a psychological reward after a tough week of eating well. But yeah, try to get the majority of your food from protein. When it comes to carbohydrates, carbs are not the enemy. It's really just all about timing and type of carbohydrates. So obviously we want to eliminate all added sugar. So if you're putting sugar in your coffee, stop. Just stop doing it immediately. That's one of the easiest ways that you can cut it out of your diet. If you're someone that says, well, I don't like how it tastes, grow up, be an adult. You're going to be okay. Think about for all of us who like to drink beer in the world, I like IPAs myself. The first time that you had beer, where you're like, man, this is great. No, you're probably you're probably a teenager, maybe in college, and you're drinking this stuff, and you're like, okay, I'm drinking this because I know the effect. I'm gonna maybe feel something weird. I'm gonna have a party. It's gonna be cool. Same thing applies with coffee. You're drinking coffee because of the effect. And once you develop that palate for the coffee bean, you can actually really start to enjoy different types of coffee. So what we have to do as adults is we have to break our taste buds down to what they should be and get rid of that sugar addiction and teach ourselves how to enjoy the natural fruits of life in things like coffee. So get rid of all that. Once again, cut out the potato chips and all of those things, but you want to be fueling your workouts with carbohydrates and fueling your daily activity. So you want to have the majority of your carbs earlier in the day, in the morning and in the afternoon and around whenever you physically are working out. But in the evening time, that's when you want to reel back a little bit. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to have a completely paleo dinner where we're not having keto dinner, where we're not having any sort of carbs at all, but maybe don't have that giant bowl of pasta. Maybe you're having, your pasta and chicken for lunch, and at dinner, your carbohydrates are going to be more green and leafy. So things like spinach, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and they even do have different forms of pasta that are made from different kinds. Like they have quinoa pasta. Like there's different ways that you can cheat code your way into having it. But essentially, any excess carbohydrates in your body do get stored as body fat. So if you're going to have a big carby dinner before you go to bed, your body's like, cool. And it's just going to hold on to it overnight. And you're going to wake up feeling a bit bloated, feeling uncomfortable. Whereas if you have a high fiber, nutrient dense meal that has your meat, it can be steak, chicken, shrimp, doesn't really matter. And then you can have a good fat, like maybe half of an avocado, and then a big thing of Brussels sprouts, whatever it might be. You're going to wake up, and because of the fiber, you're going to poop it out. You're going to feel lean and mean, and you're going to be ready to attack your day. And while we're on macronutrients, we'll finish off with fat. Good fats, avocados, extra virgin olive oil, almonds, pistachios, all things, once again, that are natural. We shouldn't be drinking trans fats, and putting ranch dressing on all of the things that we eat. So once again, start with the better decisions, eat more protein, and try to get 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight over the course of your day. You start
that's something that I finally, at my ripe old age, have caught up to, right? And I'm so skinny, but I actually I think I told you I put 15 pounds of muscle on just, I don't know about that, man.
Yeah.
but just by having in the protein shakes and the extra chicken and getting to, 140 grams or whatever, but it takes a good deal of protein, right? It's interesting.
It's a conscious decision. You can't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to do it. You really have to plan it out. You know, poor
Yes.
performance. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Like you quite literally have to have your protein available. I'm literally drinking a protein shake right now because
Yeah.
I need to get in my grams over the course of my day. That's a great cheat code to have 2 or 3 protein shakes over the course of your day, especially if you're someone who's busy and working. You can't just go down the street and find a thing of perfectly cooked steak very often,
No.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to prepare in advance, or at least find good restaurants or vendors that you know and trust. And having protein supplements as a supplement to help you in between meals is a great way to get those extra grams in.
So, okay. So awesome. So what's the number one thing people get wrong about health and fitness? What's the big mistake we're making?
Kind of talking about what I did earlier, and people trying to do too much too fast. Coming in on day one saying, all right, it's the new year. I'm going to join this program. I'm going to fix my diet and I'm going to do everything that I can. But very specifically, if you're, especially on the male side, if you're a guy who maybe used to be a high school athlete or a collegiate athlete, or maybe even if you just play a pickup game of basketball here and there, coming into the program as if you are the fittest and best version of yourself, even though you haven't worked out consistently in X number of years. And psychologically, you're going to be very disappointed in yourself if you come in and say, well, why can't I lift this weight? I used to be able to do this when I was in college. I used to be able to do this. I used to be able to run this fast and lift this heavy. You have to give yourself grace and realize that you are restarting your journey. And even though maybe back in the day, you were on chapter 100. Now you might be back to chapter 1 or maybe even chapter 10. And I always tell people, don't compare your chapter 1 to anyone else's chapter 21 or even 101. So because of TV, social media, the internet, all of that, everything is a comparison game. You see all of these drastic transformations on shows like, the Biggest Loser of yesteryear. And you see all these Instagram and TikTok, I went from this to being this, and they assume that even because the video is 15 seconds long, that's all it takes, right? But everything takes years. Any person that you see on the internet or on TV that is doing things that you want to do, they have literally been putting years and dedicated their time, effort, sacrifice to get themselves there. So I'd say the biggest mistake is people not giving themselves that grace when they first come in and really just committing to the process versus, beating themselves up because on week 1, day 1, even month 1, they're not seeing the results that they want to. If you want to make any sort of significant change in your life, it does require time, effort, and consistency. You're a very polished professional. You've accomplished a lot of great things. You didn't like Conway Wealth Group didn't just appear
No.
out of nowhere. You have
No.
you've been on the ground. You got your education, you've worked, and you've built this amazing business. Our bodies and our health and fitness is no different. We have to put in that time, we have to put in that effort, and we have to be resilient, and we have to be like never ending in our pursuit of trying to be the best version of ourselves. But
Yeah, it's that consistency, right? And one of the things I like about ladder, you talked about it before, the consistency part of this
yeah,
with, I've always been terrible at when I travel,
mm,
letting things, and sometimes, you go away for a week and a half or whatever, and you're not really, did a couple of push-ups, but you're really not getting
yeah.
so being able to stay at it. What are the top things people should consider when setting fitness goals?
Yeah. So you always want to have SMART goals, right? So that is specific, measurable, attainable. What does the R stand for? I always forget. Just repeatable, timely, right? So we pretty much want to make sure that the goals that we are setting are going to be realistic. So thing number 1 is, okay, big picture. If you're someone who's very, very heavy and maybe your long-term goal is to lose 100 pounds, that's great. That's awesome. But if you come in on day 1 and say, I want to lose 100 pounds, that is a very vague, not, that's not, it's a very vague goal that doesn't really give you any sort of timeline to help you get there. So I like to start, you might have your big picture goal, but you want to start by breaking it down into little macro goals. So when you're first
Sure.
starting, let's just start off with, okay, I'm going to commit to working out 3, 4, 5 times a week, right? Start there. And you do that by making it a non-option. I always tell people to grab your phone, go into your work calendar and schedule 3 to 5, 45 to 60-minute sessions on your work calendar and treat them like they are part of your job. You wouldn't miss a sales meeting or an investor meeting or a meeting with your boss because you're tired or because you don't feel like it. If we treat our health and fitness the same way that we treat our jobs as if our lives depended on it, we would all be incredibly successful. So thing number one, let's start with building those little micro goals. All right. I'm going to build that habit. And then say, okay, I want to do something that is going to be safe and sustainable. So if you have the long-term goal of losing 100 pounds, okay, let's break it down. Let's start with, I want to lose 1 pound a week, right? And how do we do that? It's a physics, it's a math equation, okay? 1 pound equals 3,500 calories. So if you want to lose 1 pound in a week, you need to deficit 3,500 calories over the course of 7 days.
Is it really that much? That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So you need to deficit 3,500 calories over the course of your week. But if you break it down on a daily basis, it's not that extreme, right? So 500 calories a day. In one of my workouts on Team Cruise Control, depending on the day, leg days, you're going to burn a lot more calories. But depending on the day, you'll burn anywhere between 200 and 400 calories just within that 45-minute workout. Now, we can add in additional movement into our day. I walk my dogs 3 to 4 miles a day. I have a toddler, so I'm always running around and playing with him. But something as simple as if you have an exercise bike at home, hop on it, do an extra 20, 30 minutes on any given day. I know it's not the most pleasant right now with it being single digits outside, but go for that long walk. But the more you move throughout your day, the more calories you'll burn. And then on the other side, you can deficit by just taking a couple of 100 calories off of your diet. So let's say that you're burning 250 calories a day from working out. Let's take 250 calories away from your diet in some capacity. And a lot of us might have one thing that we can just cut out, right? If you're one of those Starbucks people, if you get rid of that one Starbucks drink, instead of it being the Frappa Mocha Chocolata Gaga, and just make it a black coffee with maybe some whole milk in there, that's probably gonna cut out that surplus you have right there. So start with your SMART goals and just start by making those little baby steps, right? And then every single week and kind of take it on a daily basis, right? Okay, I hit my goal today. Give yourself that gold star, that little check. We're gonna get one of those for my toddler, just giving him things to reinforce that positive behavior. We need to do the same thing as adults. We like being acknowledged. We like being rewarded for doing good things. Within the Ladder app, every time that you work out, you get a badge.
I'm telling you, man, you get a dopamine hit from these different, and you're like, oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, right. So with the goal, we're just starting small and we're being methodical and attacking it on a daily and weekly basis, and not so much getting caught in I have to do this big daunting task of losing 100 pounds. It's, okay, I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to make sure that I'm doing this workout so that I can reach my goal this week. And then it becomes this virtuous cycle where you're seeing yourself getting better. You're able to do more within your workouts. You're able to complete more repetitions. You're able to lift heavier. You start to feel better. Your clothes start to fit better. People will start to compliment you. You might not notice it because you physically see yourself in the mirror every single day, but your face is going to change. Your body's going to change. That's why I always recommend everyone on day one, take a picture of yourself from the front and side profile in a bathing suit and just put it in your hidden folder, leave it, and then don't come back to it for another 6 weeks. I wouldn't even worry about measuring or weighing yourself within the first 6 weeks. Just kind of let your body do some stuff because you're going to gain some muscle. You're going to burn some fat. Muscle does weigh a little bit more than fat does. So your scale might not change initially. But once you start to build those basic habits, then your goals will start to compound on top of each other. So start small, keep it simple, and you're going to be great.
I have down here, number one piece of advice for people. Is there one thing other than what we've talked about that you can think of?
One thing. There's so many things.
Well, so I'll tell you what. Let's because it is one thing. It's like you can't just add protein and not work it all.
Well, I'll say this. If we're going to talk specifically about fitness, the one thing that everyone needs to do is you have to find a coach, a community, and a style of training that you like. I think that's the biggest thing, right? I am myself. There are 17 other coaches on the Ladder platform. Everyone is a little bit different. But if you don't enjoy your workouts, even on leg day, if you don't enjoy your coach's personality, if you don't feel motivated or inspired to work out by your community, then you're going to not be that successful. It is incredibly hard to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 in the morning and be self-motivated to get up and get out of bed. I've had to do it for the last 12 and a half years because it has quite literally been my job. But if you're someone who's not working out yet, like inherently, there's nothing inside of us that says, I want to wake up while it's dark and cold outside and then drag myself into the gym. But if you have a cohort, a community of people that you know are going to be there cheering you on, like pretty much as soon as I wake up in the morning, as long as my son hasn't woken up before me, I'm going to get on my phone, and you've been in the app, you receive cheers. Like in the Ladder app, you have the ability to cheer just by double tapping on people while they're physically working out. And you know that if you're in my program, you can work out at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. Somebody in the Ladder platform, whether it's me or some of the other early birds, someone is going to be cheering you on while you're physically working out. We have a group chat and a community there where I encourage people on a daily basis to either share back a workout selfie or just, share back the sweat, share their workout experience, maybe share a personal record that they might have hit. Today's upper body day. We have a lot of people who are getting their first pull up for the first time. But if you can find a community that is supportive and a coach that is supportive and people that you actually like seeing on a daily basis, the workouts are always going to be hard. Like that is what it is. It's called working out for a reason. It's not called sleeping out or vacationing out. Like we are working to make our bodies and our health into the position that we want it to be. But if you can find that that positive energy, that infectious good stuff, that is what I encourage everybody to do. So within the Ladder platform itself, you have the ability to take a quiz, and it might pair you up with me. It might pair you up with Arya. It might pair you up with Shelby. It might pair you up with Kelly or Corey or Bobby or Joe or Neen. But you pick it based on the equipment that you have access to, your style of training, what kind of coach you like to have. We all have different personalities, and whatever your goals might be and whatever workout length you'd like to have. So find that cohort. And once you find that group, the rest of it's just on you showing up every day with that positive attitude.
There you go. There you go. Good stuff today. So listen, we thank you very much. And this has been awesome. We'll talk again, but great advice for our clients, and appreciate you being here with us.
Thank you guys all for having me. It has been an absolute pleasure. And guys, remember that health is wealth. You can be the most wealthy, successful person in the world, but if you drop dead of a heart attack at age 55 or 65, where is it going to be, right? We are building longevity so that we can survive not only for our kids, but our grandkids and maybe even our great-great-grandkids, and create what I like to call generational health. So get out there, get after it. I'll share a link with you guys so that everyone within the Life and Wealth Network can get a free week of the Ladder app. Whether you do my program or someone else's program, we would love to have you guys in there. Once again, we have all of the lifestyles covered: bodybuilding, Pilates, yoga, prenatal. We're here to take care of you and help you guys get the best version of yourselves through health and fitness.
Thank you so much, Andre. Have a great day.
Right.
See you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks. All right. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining the Aligning Life and Wealth series, and for the impact you're creating by allowing people to best align their life and wealth through health and fitness. You can find this video along with the rest of our Aligning Life and Wealth series on our YouTube, LinkedIn, X, and Facebook. Thank you.